Aries, welcome back. I'm grateful you're here with me on this journey once again. Tonight, I want to invite you into a story that isn't just meant to be heard but to be felt, to be reflected deep within your own heart. Because sometimes, what unsettles us most isn't the noise of the world outside. It's the quiet gaze that follows us in silence. There is someone holding you in every breath, in every moment. And from here, we begin to step into the very first layer of this story, the light Aries carries, a light that can never be hidden. Imagine this, Aries, in the dark night of life. There are lights that quietly shine, not the loud flash of fireworks, but a steady light, silent, unwavering, filled with truth. And you, Aries, you are one of those lights. You shine not because you try to please everyone. You shine because you live true. Your light comes from integrity, from the persistence in your hands, from a heart that keeps stepping forward, from eyes that dare to face the dark and still believe in the dawn. Others may never say it out loud, but they see it. The world sees it. What draws people to you isn't just success. It's the way you pour your whole soul into everything you do. You don't paint yourself just to be accepted. You don't wear masks to chase approval. You're simply yourself, and that simplicity becomes a sacred mystery no one can turn away from. And among all those glances, there is one different from the rest. It doesn't push, it doesn't shout. It just stands there, quiet, steady, like a heartbeat that never stops. They see you the way a pilgrim sees a candle in the cold night, the way a weary traveler sees the warm roof of home. You may not realize it, but your very existence has awakened something in them they thought was long asleep. The trembling of a heart touched for the first time. The prayer of a soul that suddenly remembers how to hope. They look at you and whisper to God, not asking that you belong to them, but simply asking for a chance to be near you, to learn how to love the way you love life. Aries, you are not too much. You are not too little. You are just right. And that is why no one can look away. Not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Not because you've never made mistakes, but because you've dared to rise from them and walk forward with courage. In a world full of comparison, you are the living reminder that true value doesn't come from being more or less. It comes from daring to be yourself. They may notice you in the simplest moments. When you sit quietly with a book, when you smile in the middle of a weary day, when you walk without needing to prove a thing to anyone. In every breath, in every gesture, in every glance, you've planted in them a belief that love doesn't need to be loud to be deep. And if you ever feel lonely, remember this: your light is never forgotten. There are eyes watching you from afar. There are hearts praying for you each night. Not everyone will have the courage to step closer, but their silent presence is proof you have touched souls in ways words could never describe. This life often makes us think we must become a better version just to be loved. But true love doesn't demand you change to fit in. It sees you. It receives you. And in silence, it whispers, "You are enough." On every path, God has a way of arranging souls to meet at just the right time. The one watching you from afar may be part of that delicate plan He wrote long ago. Not to bind you, but to remind you that love takes many forms. Sometimes it's laughter. Sometimes it's tears. And sometimes it's just a gaze from a distance, enough to remind you that you are never alone. Aries, you are living proof that a steady and pure heart can become a lighthouse for those who are lost. And that's why love doesn't always rush. It doesn't always need quick confessions. Sometimes it chooses to stand back, to learn your rhythm, to breathe with you in silence, to understand that love is not about possession, but respect, admiration, and a presence that endures, like a candle that keeps burning in the quiet. And then, like water flowing gently on, the story opens into a deeper layer, where love is no longer an explosion but a patient rhythm, a quiet waiting, as if they are learning how to breathe with you. There are kinds of love that never walk into the room with drums beating or loud declarations. Instead, they arrive like a soft breath in the night, like the thin moonlight resting on the surface of a lake. And by the time you notice, it has already surrounded you. Aries, this is the kind of love that's watching over you now. They don't force their way into your life with urgency. They choose to stay quietly present, like a friend sitting in the back row, never interrupting but always there. They like a post you share and then disappear. They watch your stories in the early hours. Sometimes they leave a short comment and then step back again, as if they don't want you to feel tied down. In their mind, your name is a chorus that keeps returning. It doesn't suffocate them. It plays like background music, a hymn that fills their days with more life. Every step you take, every word you speak, every breath you draw becomes rhythm in their heart. They study you from afar, the way a scholar pores over the pages of a rare and precious book. This love, even in silence, speaks loudly. It says, "Not everyone who loves you needs to possess you." It whispers that true love isn't measured by hours spent side by side, but by the respect for the natural rhythm of the one they love. Sometimes we mistake love for something that must be loud to be real. But those who have traveled far on the journey of the heart know some loves are like seeds buried deep in the soil. They don't sprout under applause, they grow in patience, in darkness over time. And when the season is right, they rise, carrying the strength of all that was quietly stored within. Aries, the lesson here is simple yet profound. Someone who loves you the right way will not crowd your every breath. They will not rush in and overwhelm you. They will step back so you can breathe, and it's in that very space you begin to feel truly safe. In the light of faith, this kind of love reflects the way God teaches patience and respect. He doesn't force a soul to believe instantly. He doesn't demand the heart to open right away. He waits, he stands near until we come to him in our own rhythm. And in the same way, this quiet love is a small reflection of that greater truth that patience itself is a form of love. And maybe, in every step you take, in every choice you make, this person is still watching with deep admiration. Not because you're perfect, but because you dare to live true. They learn from you that light isn't for showing off. It's a flame meant to guide the way. If you open your heart to this presence, you may see it doesn't take away your freedom. It reminds you that you are seen, you are recognized, even when you're not trying to prove anything. This love feels like a gentle hand on your shoulder, not pushing you away, not pulling you close, just letting you know you're not alone. In a world that constantly pushes us to go faster, be louder, impress more, this love is a healing reminder. You don't have to overdo anything. You only need to be yourself. And there will always be hearts that can listen, wait, and respect. Aries, if you've ever wondered whether you deserve a love that doesn't judge, doesn't control, a love that is simply there for you, the answer is yes. This person is living proof that you are worthy of a mature love, a love that doesn't rush, a love that can wait until you are ready. So allow yourself to breathe freely and let them breathe with you in that safe distance. Because in mutual respect, something greater is being woven, an invisible thread, delicate yet strong, binding two souls. And from that patience, from those slow, quiet steps, a deeper layer of the story begins to open. As if an unseen hand is weaving one thread at a time, stronger, clearer, more unbreakable with every moment. In the quietest hours of the day, when the city sinks into darkness and only the soft breathing of the night remains, there is a soul thinking of you. No noise, no announcements, just the silent presence of a love searching for a way to touch your spirit through simple, yet sacred rituals. They quietly write your name in a journal, over and over, like a prayer that never ends. Every page they fill is an offering to the universe, as if each word could carve a path that leads the two of you together. In their eyes, you're not just a person, you're a messenger of something higher, something sacred, a reflection of the grace God has planted in their life. They don't run to your door. They don't knock to be let in. Instead, they sit still, close their eyes, and imagine the moment where you smile beside them. In those visions, there is no control, no chains, only a simple longing to walk with you, to hear your breath, to touch your life with pure sincerity. Aries, listen closely. There are vibrations you cannot see, but they are there, moving through the air, like an invisible thread pulling two hearts closer. It isn't magic, it's proof that souls can call to each other, even across distance, even without a single touch. In the light of Buddhist wisdom, pure love is never about holding tight. It isn't the hand that clutches a flower to keep it for itself. It is the hand that returns the flower to the soil so it can bloom in its own rhythm, so it can offer its fragrance to the world. This person doesn't want to own you, they want to be in harmony with you. And in that harmony, love becomes a sacred ritual. Every prayer, every line in a journal, every vision is a delicate thread, weaving a fabric that connects two souls. You may doubt it. You may think it's too vague, too fragile. But remember, so many bonds in life begin from fragility. Like the breeze that first stirs the branches, just a small trembling at the start. But over time, it carries a rhythm that moves the whole forest. This quiet love is the same. It begins with a whisper to God, a hurried line in a notebook, a fleeting thought before sleep, and slowly becomes an undercurrent, nurturing the belief that two souls are being called to meet. Aries, the message the universe has for you is this: you don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to prove your worth. What is truly yours will always find its way to you. Like rivers to the sea, like light to the dawn, true love never loses its way. In the silence, you are being reminded, love doesn't need loud performances or pretty promises. It needs truth. It needs resonance. It needs hearts that can hear each other, even in silence. This person is practicing that, not to weigh you down, but to honor your value as a rare gift in their life. Pay attention, Aries. When you step outside, you may think you walk alone, but there is an energy walking with you. It comes from prayers, from written words, from dreams they've offered to the universe. You are not alone. There is a soul patiently sending invisible threads toward you, hoping to tie their heart to yours with all the sincerity they have. And then, like a soft melody rising in the midnight air, the story carries us to a new note, one that brings a gentle yet important reminder. Aries, while there are pure affections seeking to reach you, there are also other gazes, not all of them born from innocence. In the journey of love, there is a concept both fragile and unshakable: boundaries. Most people think boundaries are walls built to keep others out, to protect what's private. But if you look deeper, you'll see that boundaries are really bridges. They don't close the door of the heart. They build a safe path, so two souls can reach each other without losing themselves. Aries, the powerful light within you has an irresistible pull, and for that very reason you need a clear foundation. When someone looks at you with longing eyes, what you need is an endless silence. What you need is a conscious choice to open the door or to hold space, but to be clear. If you feel ready to take a step closer, send out just a small signal, a gentle good morning on a quiet day, a simple question that carries true care, not just polite routine, or maybe a specific time you allow them to touch a piece of your world. These small signals are like the first stones laid down, building a bridge for two souls to meet safely, patiently, and strong. And if you're not ready, remember this: saying no is not cruelty. A clean, clear no still carries the value of love, because real love will never force you to go against your own heart. Someone who respects you will stop when you say enough. They won't let your refusal turn into a wound. Instead, they'll see it as a chance to learn how to love you better, or to learn how to love themselves. In society, clarity is also a gift. When a law is spoken clearly, people can live and work in peace. When an agreement is laid out plainly, trust grows stronger. And in love, the same is true. Boundaries don't build walls, they light the way. They help you and the other person know where you stand, when to move forward, and when to stop. The most human thing you can offer someone is not empty promises, but clarity. Clarity so they don't feed on illusions. Clarity so you don't lock yourself into roles that don't belong to you. That clarity, Aries, is the highest form of respect for yourself and for the one who's drawn to you. In the eyes of God, love is never built on half-truths. He teaches us, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything in between only plants the seeds of pain. And if you can live that honesty in your relationships, you'll feel lighter, freer, no longer afraid that your silence will wound someone more than your truth. Remember this, Aries: a strong heart isn't one that is always open. It's a heart that knows when to open and when to guard. You don't have to welcome every glance, every invitation, every feeling that comes your way. You only need to choose wisely, share your light with those who are truly worthy, and keep peace for yourself. On this journey, boundaries are your way of saying, I value you, but I also value myself. And when you live that way, you don't just keep your own freedom, you give the other person a chance to learn how to love with respect instead of possession. And yet, when we don't define things clearly, when love drifts in shadows and half-meanings, passion can easily turn into something heavier, harsher. What began as admiration can slide into obsession. In the journey of love, there is a concept both fragile and strong: boundaries. Most people think of boundaries as walls built to keep others out, to protect our private world. But if you look deeper, you'll see that boundaries are bridges. They don't shut the heart. They build a safe path away for two souls to meet without losing themselves. Aries, the powerful light within you carries an irresistible pull. And for that very reason, you must know how to set a clear foundation. When someone looks at you with eyes full of longing, what you need is not endless silence. What you need is a conscious choice either to open or to hold space, but to be clear. If you feel ready to step closer, send just a small signal, a soft good morning on a quiet day, a simple, sincere question that shows real care, not shallow politeness. Or maybe a specific time when you allow them to step gently into your private world. These small signals are like the first stones laid down, building a bridge between two souls, safe, patient, and strong. And if you are not ready, remember this: saying no is not cruelty. A clean, honest no still carries love, because true love will never force you against your heart. The one who truly respects you will stop when you say enough. They won't let your refusal become a wound. Instead, they'll see it as a chance to learn to love you better or to learn how to love themselves. In society, clarity itself is a gift. When a law is made clear, people live in peace. When an agreement is spoken plainly, trust is strengthened. And in love, the same truth applies. Boundaries aren't walls, they are light for the road. They help both you and the other know where you stand and when to move forward and when to stop. The most human gift you can offer is not an empty promise, but clarity. Clarity so they don't feed on illusions. Clarity so you don't lock yourself in roles that don't belong to you. That clarity, Aries, is the highest form of respect for yourself and for the one who turns toward you. In God's eyes, love is never built on half-truths. He teaches us, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything in between plants the seed of pain. And if you practice that honesty in your relationships, your heart will feel lighter, freer, no longer burdened by the fear that silence might hurt more than truth. Remember this, Aries, a strong heart isn't one that is always open. It's a heart that knows when to open and when to guard. You don't need to welcome every glance, every invitation, every feeling that comes your way. You only need to choose wisely, share your light with those truly worthy, and keep your peace for yourself. On this path, boundaries are your way of saying, I value you, but I also value myself. And when you do this, you not only keep your own freedom, you give the other person the chance to learn love and respect, not in possession. And yet, when we fail to define things clearly, when love drifts in shadows and half-meanings, passion can shift into something heavier, harsher. What began as admiration can slip into obsession. There are moments when love steps out of the dreamland, leaves behind fleeting sweetness, and enters the ground of choice. This is no longer the flutter of feelings, like a butterfly circling a flower. This is when someone with all their seriousness decides to choose you, not just because their heart is moved, but because they want to build a long journey with you. Aries, this person is looking at you not with eyes of passing infatuation, but with the gaze of commitment. They don't want to stop at moments that come and go. They want to step into a love that carries meaning, where your presence is not only honored in words, but proven in action. If there is distance between you, they won't let it be the reason to stop. They are ready to make real plans, thoughtful and responsible. It might mean arranging time, balancing work so they can meet you. It might mean preparing finances, booking flights, even changing their lifestyle to make space for this love to grow. For them, connection is no longer a dream, it is something that must be carried out with both heart and mind. Aries, this is the clear sign of a love with soul-deep choice. It's not impulsive messages at midnight. It's not promises that vanish in the morning. It is patience in planning. It is concrete action. It is their way of showing you are not just inspiration, you are a future they want to belong to. True love, in its healing sense, does not chase the waves of temporary feelings. Emotions change too easily. Love endures only when the heart rests on a foundation of responsibility. And it is that responsibility that creates safety, that builds trust, that gives love the space to grow without being swept away by storms. Picture it, Aries, a vast night sky, wide open. This love does not ask you to shrink yourself to fit inside a small box. It expands like the universe, where you can spread your wings, where your light is celebrated. The deepest touch of true love is here. It doesn't make your world smaller, it makes your sky wider. This person does not try to shape you into their version of perfect. They choose to walk with you so both of you can grow. They know love isn't about finding perfection, it's about choosing someone and walking together through imperfection, with patience, with trust, with hands held tight. In today's world, it's easy to get lost in short-lived connections, in quick confessions that fade after a few days. But soul-deep love is different. It does not rush. It settles. It plans. It lays foundation. It is a serious decision to choose you, to choose maturity, to choose a long road over a short ride. Aries, you are standing before a rare potential. A love that can become an anchor. A love that can become a home for your heart, if both of you are willing to place steady steps on that path. And for that to become real, it will need a simple but powerful beginning, a green light from you, opening the door for love to step in. Dear Aries, there are moments in life when your heart simply opens like a door. No knocking, no urging. It just quietly swings open, welcoming the light and the presence of someone special. You'll know that moment has arrived because just thinking of them makes your chest expand. You feel lighter, warmer, as if a stream flows through you carrying sparkling hope. The beginning of a sincere relationship doesn't need fancy speeches. It doesn't need a pile of promises. Sometimes it starts with something as simple, as ordinary, as surprising as this. I'm ready to explore. Here are 3 times I'm free to talk. That's it. Short, clear, yet holding the whole spirit of companionship. Do you see it, Aries? Just one sentence can lay the first stone for a lasting bridge. Inside it is openness, the willingness to explore. There is initiative, offering a real choice. And above all, there is respect for time, for rhythm, for both you and the other. What's important to remember is this: the green light does not take away your freedom. It doesn't make you bound, doesn't lock you inside a cage. On the contrary, it opens a path where equality lives. 2 people come together not to control, but to share. Not to suffocate, but to breathe together. True love always begins with companionship like this. On a deeper note, I believe every healthy beginning never arrives in a storm of promises. Promises can be beautiful, but too many, too soon, they're like a strong wind, blowing away fragile seeds before they can take root. A real beginning needs only one small seed planted in the right soil, nourished with patience, watered with trust, and lit by sincerity. From there, it grows on its own, into a tree, into shade, into a shelter for both souls. Let me say this, Aries. Your heart is strong, but it also needs gentleness. When you turn on that green light, you're telling the universe you're ready for love to walk with you, without losing your independence. That's your quiet strength, knowing how to stay free while opening space for connection. So listen to yourself and then be brave enough to send out that signal. It doesn't need to be much, just a few simple words spoken from the center of your heart. That is the key, the sign of beginning, the small miracle that opens the door to something greater. And now, I want to invite you to pause for a few seconds. Close your eyes and ask yourself, have you ever met someone who loved you so deeply they followed your every step in silence? Have you ever felt those eyes on you, unspoken but heavy with meaning? If you have, share your story in the comments, because who knows, maybe your story will touch a heart that's been searching for connection. And maybe in that sharing you'll see your own reflection. Aries, every beginning is a blessing, and when you are brave enough to turn on that first green light, all that's left is to let love walk in as naturally as the morning sun streaming through your window. And when this journey slowly draws to a close, what remains is not the noise of the world, but the light of truth in your heart. Dear Aries, thank you for listening. Thank you for opening the door of your soul, allowing me to walk alongside the rhythm of your heart through this journey. Every moment you've given to these words, to the pauses between them, is the greatest gift I could ever receive. Your presence here is not just listening, it is a quiet sharing, one that gives this story its full meaning. I want to leave you with a blessing, like a small candle that keeps burning even after this program ends. I wish you a heart strong enough to stand steady through the storms, a soul clear enough to see what truths are worth holding and what burdens are meant to be released. And above all, I wish you a love that keeps you free yet still makes you feel at home, because true love never binds. It only invites. It does not shrink your world, it widens your sky. And wherever you go, Aries, you will always carry that light, the light that shines from your own heart.